Hello and welcome to the State of Soy. I'm Aaron Putsey. In our June edition of the State of Soy, we welcome United Soybean Board CEO Polly Rulin and American Soybean Association CEO Ryan Findlay. The conversation focused on organization and issue priorities, including trade, farmer relevancy, and connecting with society's influencers. We covered a lot of ground, but we quickly realized that there was just too much to discuss, so a second segment was needed. So I'm pleased to welcome back for the second of our two-part discussion, Polly Rulin, Chief Executive Officer of the United Soybean Board, and Ryan Findlay, Chief Executive Officer of the American Soybean Association. So again, welcome back to you both. And there's just so much stuff that we need twice as much time to be able to dig into it. And again, Polly, it was almost 2 years ago when you came on board with the United Soybean Board. So I have to ask you, why did you want the job?
My gosh, who wouldn't want the job? It's like the premier job in agriculture. It's the second largest checkoff in the country. I'd say dairy producers might argue with me, but I think it's the most progressive checkoff in the country. Soybean farmers and the USB are known for doing some really, really amazing stuff with their investments. And that's a long-term reputation. I mean, it is a fabulous place to work. It's the favorite job I've ever had, and people ask me all the time, are you having fun? I'm just having a ridiculous amount of fun at work, more fun than I've ever had. So I think it's the dream job, right?
And I would pose the same question to you. You're zooming past a year on the job at ASA. You'll quickly be at 2. Why did you want the job at ASA?
I have always loved working directly with farmers, and I've always had a passion for policy, and this is the perfect nexus. And like Polly, I enjoy it. I have a lot of fun. There's certainly challenges with it, but it is a blast. Being able to work with farmers as they work through some of these challenges, I could think of no other place I'd rather be.
And the ASA, both organizations are evolving, and you have to. I mean, with the pace of the issues, with the priorities that farmers are bringing to both organizations, you have to evolve. And I think that's the spirit in which both of you function and operate and carry out your roles. So with that said, tell us about how the ASA is evolving as an organization to really be front and center in serving the needs of the people that you represent.
Sure. I think we're going to do that 2 different ways. We're going to do it externally facing. We did an evaluation of all the types of communication that we have. Communication within policy is really important. How do we communicate to members of Congress? How do we help farmers understand what the issues are that impact them on their farm? So it's all of the external stuff, and that's really important. That's key. So we've spent the last year refining that, improving it, saying what else can we do, what do we need to take away. And so I hope that farmers are able to see a change in the way that information about policy is presented to them. And we do that through a lot of different mediums, and it's important that we consider to look at improving that as a rolling process, not we do it once every 5 or 10 years. It has to be continual. Internally, it's also important that we look at how we're structured. Is it the best way to serve our farmer leaders? And instead of doing it again once every 5 or 10 years, we're going to have to do this on a rolling basis. And so we're making some changes internally to our lobby team in Washington, D.C., and then our team in St. Louis, and how we organize and what we do, some subtle changes there.
And how are you at the USB, Polly, working to help that organization continue to evolve so that it is hyper relevant to the farmers that you're serving?
Yeah, so that's the important part of that is vision, I think. So we're constantly trying to figure out where is the industry going and where can we make the most difference as far as demand pull goes. So in the last year, we've added some staffers, and folks might say, well, why are you adding staffers at this point in time, right? So the staffers are vice presidents of strategy, and what they do is they review, well, believe it or not, there are a lot of people in this country who want to work for the soybean checkoff, right? We are a well-funded organization, and they know farmers run the organization. So when we do call for concepts or call for projects, we get far more opportunities than we can fund. We hired the vice presidents of strategy so that they can take a look at all the opportunities, the board-directed priorities, the long-range strategic plan, and line up those projects for the best outcome for farmers. And so that is the way we've done it this year, is the strategic vice presidents reviewed more than 550 proposals, which is the most we've ever had in history. And the board now, in 2 weeks, the board will come together as committees and say, gosh, we got a lot of projects to review. Which ones fit our priorities the best? Which ones are best for farmers? And what's the greatest ROI or outcome for farmers in any of these projects?
So from a brand standpoint, how is it and how are you working to make sure that that brand remains a really strong one?
Yeah, I think the innovation and the vision is the way. I mean, people want to do work that matters, right? People, anybody that works for any organization, the top motivator, lots of research has shown this, is that people feel like they're making a difference, and people feel like there's a population that's benefiting from their work, right? And everybody that works at USB, I would say everybody that works at ASA is in it for the farmers, right? We are motivated by the well-being of the farmer. We believe farmers are important bedrock to this country. We believe they do an important service to the country. So as long as the folks that are working on staff are motivated in the right direction and feel like they're making a difference for a population they care about, that's always going to be a place they want to work.
Yeah, when we're talking to employees at the White House, at U.S. Department of Agriculture, at the Environmental Protection Agency, if it's staff, we're speaking on behalf of soybean farmers.
They get that.
Yeah,
they
do.
Understand that.
Exactly. That's who we have to reflect, are the soybean farmers, and we bring the soybean farmers actually to those places from time to time to remind them what we're saying isn't just made up. This is the farmer. This is exactly what they're feeling and what they're saying.
And that was the point, and I think the brand of the Iowa Soybean Association is we want to be seen as a credible, transparent, farmer information-based resource, and it sounds like at the national level, that is where ASA is as well among our elected leaders.
Absolutely, absolutely. We want them to come to us to find out information when they don't know.
How can farmers out there in the field continue to help you reflect that?
Yeah, brand? I think it's the farmers that serve on the ASA board are going to continue to go to DC on a regular basis and deliver that message. Here on the countryside, engaging in any aspect of elected officials at the federal level is really important. Invite members of Congress or your senators, Ernst or Grassley, invite them out to the farm. Go to some of the presidential campaign events that are happening around here.
Yeah, we'll have
engage.
A few of those coming up.
Yeah, I know. That's all right. But engage and tell your story. It's not, well, I'm not really sure I understand the issues. Tell the story about your farm. Tell them what you're going through. Explain how this year's weather is impacting you, your perception of how trade is impacting you. Tell your story. That's huge.
And similar from the USB front too, what do you want farmers doing locally that can positively impact the brand of the United Soybean, of the soybean industry?
Yeah, well, we're here today because the state-national partnership, I believe, is stronger than it has been in a long time. So what we do is we work together and make sure that the programs we operate are cohesive and that it's the whole amount of the checkoff that works for farmers, right? So the better we can get on the state-national partnership, the more strength we can have in that relationship, the better off the farmers are. And so as we move forward, I would love to see USB and all the state organizations, the state checkoff organizations, work even more closely to make sure that our strategy is tight, to make sure that we're efficiently spending the whole checkoff dollar, those dollars that the states control and those dollars that the USB farmers control, and make sure that those are the best spent, the best invested for farmer outcomes.